Welcome to the podcast from the St. Louis Sportists, an occasionally smart, always irreverent look at sports in St. Louis and beyond. And now, your St. Louis Sportists.
Hello and welcome to the podcast from the St. Louis Sportists. My name is Ron Cook, and I am joined by Joe Sperlin.
Hey, good evening. Glad to be here. Good to see everybody.
Doug Lansdowne.
Glad to be back after an extended leave of absence.
Well, you had some coaching to do.
Had some coaching and trying to sell a house, and lots of going on.
That was a one-act play written by Frank DeFord about Nolan Richardson in Sports Illustrated. Got to do some coaching. I highly recommend it. And Tom Mathis, how are you, sir?
Good. Hope everybody's doing well. It's good to be back myself.
Indeed. We're getting the band is back together, and in this edition, Billikens down. SLU stumbles in a conference game. Maddening Mizzou continues to mystify, and the Illini dust themselves off in fine fashion. The Cardinals' full squad is at work in Jupiter, and Yadi is there. And two words you did not expect from the Olympics, a curling controversy. The St. Louis Sportists are brought to you by First Coast Steel Buildings. Jason and his team will take your project from design to completion with a family-first approach. You can learn more at 1stcoaststeel.com, and we will hear more from them later in the show. Tonight's last call is brought to you by Black Dog Consulting, LLC, here to help the one-truck owner and the small fleet owner to grow and prosper. You can contact Dave at 417-217-9622. Black Dog Consulting, helping you retrieve bigger profits. So, folks, this is where we politely and very humbly ask you to help us out here. If you would subscribe to this podcast, boy, that would be a great thing. That helps us too. Subscribe, like, any of that. We're on X, Facebook. We're on the gram, as the kids say. We're also on TikTok, Blue Sky, and you can watch. If you'd rather watch than listen, some posts, and for the life of me, I don't know why, but some people prefer to watch instead of listening. That is at STL Sportists on YouTube, and the website is stlsportist.com. Joe Sperlin, what do you have for a quick hit?
People that watch, it's my wife told me to quit looking like I was a homeless guy if people were watching. So tried to look a little bit better. I guess I'm falling into the trap of the SEC. It just means more. I catch myself watching more and more SEC basketball when it used to be the Big East, the ACC, the Big 12. But I catch myself like tonight, I've got 3 SEC games on. I mean, my God, why am I watching Oklahoma and Tennessee on there? I have no idea, but they're on. And so I guess, Ron, could we call that a teaser in the business?
That's it.
We're going to be talking about later. Yeah. But hey, this weekend, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Houston, a preview of the Final Four. I would say one of those teams probably have got a really good chance of being the championship this year. Crazy if all 4 of them are in the Final Four like everybody has. So some interesting basketball this weekend with about 2 weeks left.
Yeah. Well, you never know when you're going to see, when you watch SEC basketball, you might see a popcorn machine catch on fire. So
That's right. That's right.
You got that going for you.
More popcorn.
Or, Doug that was, Tom put that in the chat. The real tragedy was the popcorn. Doug, what do you have?
I'll follow up on Joe, too. I'll actually use that as my last call. I was going to talk quite a bit about college basketball tonight, so I'm finally getting to watch a little bit of it. So I'm with Joe. I'm watching a lot of SEC, and I'll visit about it later.
Gotcha. Mr. Mathis.
I'm going to talk about K-State and their ex-coach now, Jerome Tang. It was last week that after the game in the press conference, he said he was embarrassed by the team's performance. They didn't deserve their uniforms, and they would be out practicing at 6 a.m. the next morning. Then he texted that they ran stairs for pretty much the whole 2-hour practice. They went out and lost again. and he got fired. He was let go by the university, and they tried to do it for cause because of he embarrassed the school. I mean, the fans were already wearing grocery bags to the games, like the old Saints fans. So I think he did embarrass the school. A couple of points of my favorite thing about this is they won last night without him. They beat Baylor. I mean, it's not a great team, but they still beat Baylor. And, he's the one who put the roster together. It's not like he came in and somebody handed him a team. He put the roster together. So he's in charge of all the embarrassments. And then my last thing on this is they asked Seth Greenberg, I think this was Monday night, if he should be fired for cause. And he went on a rant saying there's no way he could be fired for cause. And I'm thinking, he probably would have been kicked out of the coaches union if he would have said, yeah, he's okay to be
Yeah.
fired for cause. He's going to stick up for the coaches, and that's what he did. So pretty
Yeah.
peculiar situation in Manhattan.
It really is. And, the thing that I believe, Tom, I forget if it was you or someone else said in our chat, okay, now who's going to want to step into that mess?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can step in now and bring an entire new team.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. That goes back to something Dennis Gates said. You're at the point now where you have to re-recruit your entire team every year.
Yeah.
He definitely would have. He would have had to
for
recruit
sure.
him.
And it's funny that you brought that up, Tom, because before you joined us, Doug and Joe and I were talking about coaches behaving badly, which we may get into a little bit later. Mick Cronin was featured in that.
Oh yeah, Mick's weekly visit.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna come from him. For my quick hit, I kind of thought that as the Chief thing, as time passed, the Chiefs moving to Kansas might kind of simmer down. No. Missouri House Speaker Pro Tem Chad Perkins has filed a bill that would end Chiefs-branded Missouri license plates. You wouldn't be able to get the Chiefs logo on your Missouri license plates anymore. And his quote, if I've given you everything you ask and treated you like a little princess, and you leave anyway, then maybe I need to take a different tactic, he said. If you're going to leave and go to Kansas, then why are we giving out license plates for a business that's based in Kansas? Now, under the bill, the issuance of the Chiefs branded plates would end in 2026. And then but he wasn't done. He was just getting warmed up. He said Arrowhead Stadium's not owned by the Chiefs. It's owned by the Jackson County Sports Authority. If I were the Jackson County Sports Authority, I'd tell them get out right now. Just get your stuff and get out now. Go play football at a high school field in Overland Park. I don't care. Get out. And you can sue me and we can go to court, and I think a Missouri jury might just agree with me right now. So basically that was go on git, except with a lot more in there. Tom, I know that you hadn't filled out your application for a Chiefs plate, so.
I have not, no. I guess I'll put it on the back burner now.
Yeah, I think that would affect you least of anyone, probably, on the on the screen. But right back into college hoops, Doug, Maddening Mizzou. We came up with that about a month and a half ago. I think that is like perfect for this team. Rough night Saturday against the Longhorns there.
It's like watching a train wreck. You know they're going to go off the tracks. Will it happen early on? Will it happen at the end? I mean, they are going off the tracks at some point. They're going to miss about 7 free throws. They're going to give up an easy 1 or 2 offensive rebounds, and they're going to go off the tracks. So but they're just wild enough, and they got just enough talent that they get in the tournament, and I'll be damned if they wouldn't win a game like as an 11 seed. So
yeah. Yeah, and the favorite of Joe and I, Joe, there will also be one point where one guy is standing there dribbling the ball at the top of the key, and the other 4 guys are standing there not moving.
Yeah. Well, and last week, Trent Pierce played a good game. He had 20-some points, I think. And then against Texas, he was pretty invisible. You never even saw him out there. I think I noticed him twice for plays they made. And then they had a couple of alley-oops against A&M, where they looked great. They couldn't do that at all against Texas. Those balls were going over the backboards and all over the place. Oh, and I was like, oh my gosh, just stop it.
Tom, he may have left during the 2 reviews that took like 25 minutes total. He may have left and no one noticed.
He might have, that's for sure. Yeah, those were just crazy.
I've never seen a review where literally everyone, coaches, players, TV officials, everyone looked pissed that they were doing another review.
Yeah. Yep.
And I do want to give credit to Tom Mathis, who put in our Sportists chat. Everyone is terrible right now. Mizzou, Texas officials. You had one more. Announcers. and it was accurate. Like every single,
yes,
all 4 elements there were not firing. It was bad. And you're right. A Mizzou player could have literally gone over to the Warren E. Hearns multipurpose center and been practicing free throws, and no one would have noticed.
Free throws or layups, so
I don't know. So, but Doug, like you said, do you think there's a chance that they could actually find religion and put it all together here and down the stretch?
I wouldn't rule it out, but then I could also see them losing 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Well, I just saw a deal. The ESPN Analytics, whoever that is, I don't know who that is. They do not have them the remaining part of their regular season schedule. I guess if it's under 50%, you wouldn't be favored to win. So it's like their biggest chance for a win is at Mississippi State was 47%. And the rest were like 28 and 30%. So you're right, Doug. There's the chance of Ofer.
Yep.
Yeah. You get a feeling that there's going to be one of those cameras there on Selection Sunday in Columbia because they want to get the reaction either way.
Yep.
And Tom, last night the reaction from the St. Louis Billikens was not a good one, and it was kind of like a slow motion automobile accident. You could just see it coming for minutes and minutes and minutes.
I mean, how can you let a guy who's the only scorer on the Rhode Island team hitting threes? I think he ended up with 7. No, 9. He ended up with 9. How can you let him keep taking those shots? At some point, somebody's got to be in his face and keep the ball, where he can't shoot it. But they just kept letting him shoot, and it's basically from the same spot every single time. And I mean, that's what killed him. That and the turnovers. You can take the turnovers, but the layups, the missed layups, they probably had 10 missed layups, just easy putbacks.
And in crunch time too, down the stretch when they were trying to come back, which were just daggers.
Oh yeah,
Doug, back to what Tom was saying. It's like as a coach, that has to be maddening. Do you just say, does someone want to guard that guy?
Exactly. Yeah. I thought they would lose a road game. I didn't think they would lose to Rhode Island though. But they're not terrible, but yeah.
But a team that's under 500 in conference, that's not good. And then all of a sudden it gets serious because look who's coming to town this Friday. All of a sudden, VCU, who's only a half game back.
Yeah, it's this Friday's game's going to be huge. If they come out and play like they can and beat VCU, they'll probably be okay. But if they lose this game, I don't know. They start getting where they got to win the tournament to get in.
Yeah, think about that. Who would have thought just even like a few days ago? Schertz said, head coach Josh Schertz said, Joe Sperlin, that we've been playing with fire the last 3 or 4 games in terms of our execution, physicality, and competitiveness. This is the time of year that those sorts of that kind of thing catches up with you eventually, doesn't it?
Well, I think of the deal, like I said, the dog days of February, waiting for the tournament to start, It's been a long year, and you're like we're going where? Playing 500 Rhode Island? Oh, yeah, I'm fired up. I'm excited. And they'd been able to flip the switch the past couple weeks, but not this time.
Not this time. But I'll tell you who did flip the switch, Doug, and that is the Fighting Illini of Illinois. They played just a complete basketball game against the Hoosiers of Indiana on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have many weaknesses. They don't have many holes. When they, as with most teams, they don't shoot it. When they don't shoot it well from the three, that's their one probably Achilles. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they look as good as anybody. So they're a lot more complete team than I thought they'd be when the season started. I mean, we knew they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this good. And that freshman he's lights out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and in fact, my lovely wife, Jamie Kay, asked me, is he gone after this year? Does he come back? And I'm like, don't know. He's awfully good.
Yeah.
In terms of their next action, it's here in just a couple of hours, Joe. Is that a conference game? USC?
That is
Really?
a conference game. Yeah. Yeah. And those West Coast teams are firing it up, or they are fired up and not winning games in the old the Big 18. Yeah. Cronin to say he is not happy with it. So
no, and the question is now, Tom, are you looking at a number 2 or a number 3 seed here in March for Illinois? And I know we've got, they've got a little bit to finish out here. Illinois is 21-5, 12-3 in the Big 18, 2.5 games behind Michigan. That's a solid resume, and you get the feeling that they're going to finish fairly strong here.
You would think so. I mean, I've been leaning towards it too, but the last, I know we'll talk about bracketology in a minute, but the last thing I saw was they were a 3 seed, and I could see them going either way. I think the most important thing is ending up here at the pod that's going to be here in St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fun to see. Is who comes to St. Louis, and boy, I just got a feeling Illinois is coming here. Joe, you're our resident bracketology expert.
I need to work on my Joe Lenardi imitation of talking about the bracketology. Yeah, Illinois, a 2 seed in St. Louis. St. Louis, a 7 seed in St. Louis. And boy, folks, if you don't have tickets, because they now have number 2 seed Iowa State coming to St. Louis.
Wow.
So, yeah, good luck getting those tickets. If you got one, there is something called that you can sell it for more than it was face value, but might be illegal. I don't want to get that going. But anyway, Mizzou right now is team number 69. The first team out.
Oh.
Now, let me ask you this, and we talked about this. Mizzou, the old famous, if the SEC tournament started today, Mizzou would be an 8 seed. They would not get to play the first game, and they would play the winner of the 9 seed Texas A&M and 16 seed South Carolina. You talk about a team on a slide, Texas A&M. Holy cow!
Yeah.
So, if you're Mizzou, do you want to play that game first? Do you not? Do you say, okay, we'll play Texas A&M and then get a shot at the Gators? I mean, we kind of talked about them winning 2 games in the SEC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But, Alabama gets beat, they're going to slide down. I mean, they're talking about spots 2 through 9 are like 1 game apart.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're all right there.
5 games left, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just looking here at screen 3 in the Thunderdome. Alabama, I did not realize, is 8-4 in the SEC. Playing Arkansas 9-3 in the SEC. This is a little bit of a swing game.
Alabama's a 3 seed, and if they lose this game, who knows what they could drop down to.
And they're trailing by 11 here in the second half. So
yeah,
very, very possible.
There was a reason why they were trying to get that kid from the NBA. I mean, they needed the help.
Yeah,
they definitely need that help.
I still will
Yeah,
go
and you
back
just
and say, oh, no, I'll still go back and say, I don't see much changing in those top 8 teams.
No, I agree.
You know,
They're all pretty interchangeable.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you may get some of them that fight it out between 3 and 4, but there'd have to be some really bad things happen, I think, for the 1s and the 2 seeds in the tournament to change much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, it gets just kind of crazy because, like last night, we watched the Iowa-Nebraska game, where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Iowa just comes up and takes down, the once invincible Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are on a bit of a slide here lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the time of the year that if someone's prepared and crisp and comes out and shoots and passes well, guess what? You can knock off someone who's got a single-digit ranking in front of their name.
Yeah.
So
Especially on the road, as a lot of them will know, SLU and Nebraska and a bunch of them last night.
Yep.
yeah,
That Iowa State and Houston, that was a great game on Monday night. I mean,
It was. Yes,
I
it
was
was.
surprised how many points Houston scored, but it was a great game.
yeah. Well, March is approaching here as we come to you. We're recording this on the 18th, so yeah, March is right around the corner. And because of that, Tom Mathis, your St. Louis Cardinals full squad is in Jupiter, Florida, including Lars Nootbaar, who showed up today. He said that he would not. He said he's questionable for opening day. He's still on some anti-gravity treadmill. It's an anti-gravity treadmill, which, first of all, okay, sure.
Wait,
Uh,
it's
How
supposed to be
can you
weight.
be questionable for opening day when you haven't done anything?
Well, he did have both feet operated on, so
Yeah, I mean, but okay.
There's no way he's. I mean, there's no way he's going to play. I just don't see how. Maybe May 1st. Well, maybe we can look at that, but there's no way for opening day at this point. And I also heard he said that his feet were so bad that he couldn't make it up the stairs at home after a game. When he got home, he had to pull onto the banister to help him make himself walk up the steps. That's how bad his feet were.
Did he have like a fireman's pole to get down or something? I mean, what's
I don't know. I don't know,
Slide
but
down the stairs.
why keep putting him out there at that point? Why just let him sit? Go ahead and get the surgery. Nothing was going to be done last year. Get the surgery done
dear.
so you are ready for opening day this year. Or they could have traded him.
Yeah, was it the entire don't have surgery because you're not going to be worth any trade if you have surgery?
Yeah,
True.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that and wouldn't that have been fun if some team gets him and it's like, hey, this guy can't walk up steps.
Yeah. That would be fun.
I don't think we need to give this kid a physical. He couldn't get out of the car and walk into the office to announce. I don't think we need to give him a physical. We're good. That trade's over.
Yeah. One last thing about Newt is he is now the longest tenured Cardinal on the roster.
Oof, that's factually correct. I heard Bernie give a stat that like the entire projected starting 8 like has 1,200 games of experience, and it was like Swanson. 3 of the Cubs. It was like Swanson and Bregman and one other guy have 1,500 games. Just those 3 guys.
Yeah. They're infield.
Yeah. Speaking of a guy with a lot of games, Yadier Molina is in camp. Doug, that's pretty cool to have him working with especially someone like Herrera.
I think you want Yachty there every day, unless you're Ollie.
Yeah.
He'll work those catchers, and I mean I've seen a couple of pictures now, videos where it's just the 4 or 5 catchers standing around him talking. Those
That's
guys
good.
better listen to him.
Yep. Yep.
It's a good teacher, good guy to learn from. So I hope they take in some intelligence from him.
But it makes you wonder why. I mean, after Mo left, is that why he wanted to come back? I know he had his pro team he owned last year, or whatever that was, and stuff. But There had to be some changes for him to come back, right?
You'd think so. You kind of get the feeling with him. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, go back to the last year he was actually a player, and he took off for a few days to go watch his basketball team. I mean,
Exactly.
he's kind of been marching to the beat of his own drummer for a few years here now.
Yeah, he really has. Yeah, he does. I mean, I know was an important player, but at some point you got to be here all the time for your team.
Yeah, yeah.
He's there evaluating talent, so when he's ready to take things over.
Oh, there's a master plan. Speaking of,
Yeah.
on opening day of spring training, the infield was Nolan Gorman at third, Mason Wynn, J.J. Weatherholt, and Alec Burleson. And basically, the Cardinals were kind of up front saying, "Hey, this is probably going to be our infield, Doug. Is that from an offense and defensive standpoint something you can live with?"
I'm willing to live with it to see what they can do. I think you have to. So,
Yep.
but
I
you
agree.
know, if it's the middle of August and Gorman's hitting 160, then you realize that ship has sailed. So,
If he's hitting 160 in the middle of August, they should have traded him at the deadline.
Yeah.
Moved on and, tried Sagasi or somebody, But I'm happy that they're giving him the opportunity. I think he deserves it. They probably can put Sagasi in there against the left-handed starters. Probably not a bad idea, and just see what he can do. But he's never had a full opportunity.
oh, that's right, he hasn't.
And, and even when he did get a big shot, he was playing at second. Well, he was learning second base in the major leagues. So we know we can watch Walker and tell that's not easy, moving positions in the majors. So, just give him the shot. If he falls on his face, okay, that's fine. Then we can move on. But what if he hits 35 home runs and drives in 80 runs? I want to see what he can do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, the projections from Fangraphs and all of those other range from 66 wins to like I think 73, 74 wins. And Joe, if you do math, that would be awfully close to 100 losses, which this team has not done since the expansion era of the early 60s. Ouch.
Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh.
But I still don't see it. We've talked about where I think they'll be pretty close to what they were last year. I think 76 wins. That's kind of where I have them, penciled in. Their pitching is going to be a little bit better. It's going to be deeper. It's better because you don't have Miles Michaelis and Eric Petty going out every 5 days. So, just on that, just right there, I think they're a better team.
Oh, I think so. And some people tell me that addition by subtraction is not a thing, but I absolutely believe it is in that case.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, one last thing on the Cardinals.
Go ahead.
The prize prospect they got back, I think it was in the Sonny Gray trade, Brandon Clark. He had an aneurysm in his shoulder. He is probably shut down through at least midway in the season.
Oh.
So
I see that going through the whole season.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. I mean, maybe they take it easy on him and just, back him off a little bit and just let him come back next year. But, that's something I wouldn't want to mess around with. That's for sure.
No. Yeah, I saw that today. So, well, and it goes back to what we said last week. If you're going to throw some darts, the best way to be successful is to throw a lot of darts. And, that was the approach with the pitchers. So at least they've got several others that they can take a look at.
And you talk about that, they've made a couple waiver claims the last week or two. And a trade, they tried to get the guy that they got from the Nationals. Now his name escapes me, but they'd been trying to get him a few times. So they finally ended up Soriano. Yeah, they finally made a trade to get him. They picked up Zach Kent yesterday. Again, they had picked him up in December and had to drop him. So just pick up arms. Just get and put as many out there as you can.
Yeah, and maybe you'll get a Kent Bottenfield somewhere.
Exactly. And trade him for Jim Edmonds.
In for Jim Edmonds. Yep.
There you go. There you go. That's, as I believe Mo called it, arbitrage. We're gonna miss Mo more than we think. I just tell you. Speaking of people that have been missed, Joe Sperlin, Kansas City Chief fans have pined for Tyreek Hill ever since he went to the Miami Dolphins, and now, lo and behold, he's available. It's like all of the message boards and social media is like, free Tyreek, bring back Tyreek. How practical is that?
If Mahomes and Andy Reid want him back, there'll probably be some negotiations. But if it doesn't happen real quick, Andy and Mahomes have not returned his calls, is all I'm going to say. Hey, let's work a deal out. And then you're going to talk about the Mahomes salary cap, and they're like, that's to clear up for Tyreek. Well, he's got a bad wheel or bad knee, and someone will either really overspend for him right off the bat, or he won't sign for a very long time. I don't know if there's any in between. I don't see the Chiefs pulling the money, wasting it on him. I won't say waste is a strong word. Using that money on him.
I think you tip your hand. It made me think of Johnny Carson left the Tonight Show. Letterman and Leno were competing for it. Leno gets it, and 9 months later they offer Letterman the gig because Leno was tanking so bad. And one of Letterman's advisors said, "They're not offering you the Johnny Carson Tonight Show. They're offering you the Jay Leno Tonight Show." And Doug, I was just thinking they're offering this is the Jay Leno Tyreek Hill that the Chiefs would be getting here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting that guy that 50 yards down the field goes up and out jumps four guys and catches it. So, no, I agree with Joe. It's exactly what I thought when I saw that. I thought somebody's going to lose their mind and give him way too much, or it's going to be training camp's over and it's like, nobody signed Tyreek Hill yet. Well, there's a reason why.
Yeah. Someone in a fantasy draft will pick him up, and it's like, he doesn't have a team, and it's like, really? But he's the number 47 wide receiver.
It'll probably be a playoff team contender who loses one of their top two receivers in training camp or early in the season, and they put a call out and say, "Hey, you interested? Give you $1 million."
Yeah.
And it would be like one of those cartoons that we grew up with where he would be in the room standing next to the person on the phone by the time the call was over. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here."
Exactly.
So, and then, as alluded to, Patrick Mahomes has restructured his contract. His salary cap number drops from 78.2 to 34.65. Doug, the Chiefs were in salary cap hell there. Still kind of, even with that, they've still got some wood to chop to get that salary cap under control.
They do, but there's room now. They'll end up making room. Yeah. They've got enough flexibility. They'll let go of another one or two guys, but they've got some room now to maybe. I know I saw a deal. They said they thought they could bring 3 guys in with that, maybe 2 right away, and then another guy they can afford later, who might be a late cut too.
Yeah. Or as we said last week, they could have Kelsey pay them to play. So you never know.
Yeah.
All sorts of creative options. And speaking of creative options, it's time to hear from the good folks at First Coast Steel Buildings, where they have all sorts of creative options. And next, we will head overseas to the Olympics. We'll talk a little golf, and it's opening week for St. Louis City. All this and more when we come back.
Are you in the market for a barn dominium, house, garage, man cave, carport, or hobby shop? Wondering how to get started or where to go? Whatever you are looking to design, look no further than First Coast Steel Buildings. Give Jason and his team a call at 912-314-4848. They will guide you through the process, designing your building to fit your specific needs and budget. Call them today at 912-314-4848. 4848, or get inspirational ideas and start designing your own by visiting them at firstcoaststeel.com. Again, that's the number 1, stcoaststeel.com. Their low-cost buildings are fully galvanized steel, providing you with worry-free, low-maintenance requirements, integrity, quality, and a family-first approach. First Coast Steel Buildings, 912-314-4848 or firstcoaststeel.com. Discounts for military and first responders.
And we are back on the St. Louis Sportists podcast, along with Joe Sperlin, Doug Lansdowne, and Tom Mathis. My name is Ron Cook, and the Olympics continue in Milan Cortina, which again, Cortina, we said, is for the ultra-rich, not just the rich. Last week we said it was Vail on steroids. So think about that when you see those alpine events. And for those of you that were fortunate enough to go look up Franz Klammer's downhill run, you're welcome.
I say, yeah, you're welcome.
But today, Tom Mathis, 2 outstanding hockey games.
Yeah, I mean, we had there's 3 overtime games, I think. Yeah, out of
that's
the 4.
right. Yeah, that's right.
And in the U.S. and Canada, I mean, they both had to come from behind to take it into overtime and win. They had to be, just as nervous as can be, but they stood up. Jordan Bennington, I mean, yeah, he played solid, but he made a couple big saves to keep him in the game, including a breakaway that could have won it. So it's been fun. To me, it's been the best part of the Olympics. I know I'm a hockey guy, but it has been the most exciting part of the Olympics to this point.
Yeah, the curling and figure skating lobby will be waiting outside your door. That includes our general counsel, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I watched the figure skating, but disappointed in that. So the men's figure skating.
Yeah. The quad god had a meltdown that psychologists will probably be studying. He what was it he said, that the second that he got on the ice he was just flooded with negative thoughts, and when he went for his first quad he cut it down to 2, and then he fell multiple. Basically, I was listening to where I get all of my sports news, which is NPR, and they were talking about what it was like in the arena, and they said that everyone was had their phones and was filming. And then all of a sudden, everyone saw how it was going, and they just kind of slowly
just
put their phones down. Oh dear. Hey, Jordan Bennington, right? You go back to the 4 Nation last year, and then you look at the Olympics this year, and then you look at the Stanley Cup, and you look at the playoffs, and he just loves the big stage, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, the brighter the lights, the better he is, and it's fun to watch, and you see a guy like that take control, and I can't say he's been dominant, but he's been really good, and it's just the bigger the game, the bigger he plays, and the Tampa Bay Lightning was here in town a couple weeks ago, and I heard that him and John Cooper met, and Cooper said, "You're my guy." And they gave him that extra confidence. So good on Cooper.
Yeah, well, and then Cooper's a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, there's no question about that. So that's some fine motivation. And you mentioned Canada and the U.S. The women play tomorrow. Canada, since they've started women's hockey, Canada's won 5 of the goals. The U.S. has won the other 2. And talk about a rivalry there. That's going to be some good Thursday afternoon television. Joe Sperlin, you brought up curling, and your clip has gone viral, by the way, of you talking about curling. We've had curling controversies, as it turns out. I didn't know that a double touch in curling was such a bad thing, but apparently it's quite a big deal.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Hey, and I always reference that to being in the South. I believe after a few beers and some cheating like that, there would have been a Donnybrook of fighting. If that was down
There would have.
You're not accusing me of cheating, but hey, Canada, I don't know if it was I thought the other team said they accused Canada and they wanted an extra camera to catch him. And he was
Yes.
caught and said, not me. And the video evidence proved it. And then there was, it happened again. So, hey, curling, it's the intensity of the curling, but don't double touch it.
You can sweep. You can sweep their stone out of the circle, but don't touch it twice.
Oh yeah,
Don't touch it twice. I knew it was out of control when we were sitting at a bar last Thursday night, and my wife was sitting there looking up curling rules on her phone, and started telling me the names of terms and scoring, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Hey, I'll say this. I feel Lindsey Vaughn kind of closing her story. Not only does she have all those surgeries and she's finally going to get home after they said, hey, we may have to amputate your leg, but no, we're going to do some surgeries. And then her dog dies.
Oh.
Yeah. I saw that today. She's going through all this and then her dog died. I mean, what's the poor gal got to go through?
She would like a mulligan on 2026, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Joe, you were the one that told me about these drone cameras, and I was watching those on I forget if on the luge and the bobsled. Those things are crazy.
Yep.
As I said, try to look to the left and the right and realize how fast those people are going or how fast they're going down the hill. You know, you catch yourself watching the sled, but then you kind of try to look to the, like I said, it's like driving in a car going, yeah, we're not going too fast. Well, wait, we're going 120? Yeah, we're fast.
So one thing I'd like to bring up is I don't think that NBC and Peacock has done a great job of televising the games. And I know they're in Milan and they're 6 or 8 hours ahead of us, but it's hard to catch a lot of times the event live. And it's just, even if you do go, you can't tell if it's live or tape delayed or what it is. So it's been pretty frustrating. I know it's a challenge when it's not here or in the same times. And I look forward to the Los Angeles Olympics, but Los Angeles, St. Louis Olympics, I'll say.
St. Louis, yeah,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to.
But,
Well, Tom, I'll make this comment. My wife was going to watch the young man for the United States on his figure skating. And as she started to watch it, I said, boy, are you going to be disappointed? And I walked out of the room. You know, I mean, I was like,
well,
and that was it. I mean, I was like, whoops, I probably shouldn't have said that, but that happened at 4:30 this morning, but you're okay.
I texted my sister. I said, are you watching skating tonight? She goes, no, I already heard. So,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I understand it's a challenge and they're trying to get the ratings, but I can't watch something when I know it's already happened, and I'm done.
Yeah, you've got to watch for that little live thing, which I see very infrequently in the upper right-hand corner.
If I don't see it, I'd change it.
Yep.
Yeah, but one thing we did get to enjoy live, Doug, was the golf action at Pebble Beach this past weekend. Mr. Bridgman actually on the 18th hole on Sunday took as long as I've ever seen to play a hole. Now, you've watched a lot more golf than me. You've probably seen something longer than that.
Not much. Yeah, that was.
I'll say it. I've heard Doug yell this before. Hurry the hell up!
I have. Yeah, it was. Oh gosh, it was so hard to watch. It was just somewhere along the line. I know those guys want to try to some shots, and they do listen to their caddies, but that caddy somewhere along the line had to say, "I'm not crawling under with the bag. Sorry, I'm not doing it. Come up here and take a drop." Yep. So it was just a debacle.
I don't know how
I think I was.
Morikawa out. I mean, he sat there for 25 minutes waiting, just standing in the fairway.
Yep.
I said I flashed back, Doug, to Matt Kuchar kneeling on a towel while Jordan Spieth was at the Open Championship back by the production trucks a few years ago. Remember that one?
He went over to the next. He went over like the next town to take a drop. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. What'd you think of the tournament overall, though?
Oh, I always like it when they play Pebble Beach. Yeah, I wish that weather would have come in about 2 hours earlier.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, I would have liked seeing it about 2 hours earlier. But yeah, Pebble Beach is always cool. Most of those West Coast tournaments are cool. That they play Riviera this weekend, and they've got some cool holes. And there's been some odd winners at Riviera because they have the Kikuyu grass. So the Australians, the New Zealanders play good there. Bubba Watson said, he won there 3 times, and Bubba, he almost has Tourette's at times. He twitches and jerks and looks in the crowd and everything. But when they get on that back 9, there's like 4 holes down through there. There was no crowd. They can't follow him down in that ravine and play the back 9. So Bubba said that's when he could kind of, he wouldn't get off kilter and he could concentrate better. And same thing at Augusta. Some of those holes at Augusta, the fans can't get to and stuff. So, that's the reason Bubba said he had success there. But yeah, the 10th hole and the 18th hole are my 2 favorites at Riviera.
Yeah. Bubba hits some shots with trajectories that you don't see from other humans. It's just like, okay.
Yep. True.
I go figure.
Pebble Beach was great. That scoreboard, the leaders, I was hoping for a 3-man playoff. I mean, I was just hoping for it.
Yep.
Maybe if that wind would have come in a little bit earlier, because Saturday, those guys, it was driving them nuts. It was taking them 10 minutes to putt because the ball kept moving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pebble Beach, if you said, hey, I could play any course in the United States, I think I would say Pebble Beach. And like I said, just because of the views and everything, but if you could only promise there was no wind.
Yeah.
I would not want to have to go and, it's 100 yards downhill to a par 3, and you need to hit a driver and aim to the ocean.
Yep.
So does that change like during the season, like later in the summer or something? Does that change, or is that the wind there all the time?
I think the wind's there all the time. I mean,
wow.
they play the U.S. Open there in June, and other than the year the Tiger won it, they've all got sweaters on and the wind's howling, and I think it's just the location of the course up there in Northern California.
So Doug, if there were no wind and those guys could play that course, they would probably shoot ridiculously, because it's not a long course at all.
That's it. There's no length to it, no, at all. Yeah, they would tear it up.
One late breaking thing I saw, and by late breaking, I saw this afternoon. It may have happened earlier, but they asked Tiger Woods, are you ruling yourself out for Augusta? And he said, absolutely not. Do you think there's a chance we see him give it a shot here in a few weeks?
Gosh, I don't see how. I think he's always going to take the high road and keep everybody's hopes up and stuff, but I don't see how he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one rumor I've heard a lot, he turns 50, and the one rumor I've heard a lot is he'll make his senior or Champions Tour debut here in St. Louis at the tournament here in Normandy. So, not Normandy, it's in Norwood Hills. And so that would be huge for St. Louis.
Get your tickets.
That would be
now,
another,
folks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, get your tickets now. And another get your tickets now thing, Tom Mathis, this Saturday at 1:30, thank goodness, Your St. Louis City opens their season. They finally got a striker instead of a center back. Sergio Cordova. Man, I wish Ricardo Montalban were alive to say that name.
Yeah.
Cordova. He's a former Vancouver DP, and they brought him in. Nearly every analyst has City missing the playoffs. So this is we've talked before about the movie Major League. Well, I guess there's just one thing to do. And that's pretty much where.
Right? They still have Berkey.
I'm sorry.
They still have Berkey, right? The goalie.
Yes, Berkey is back. He remains the captain. The original City members are dwindling. And the picture of Klaus with L.A. Has come out, which a lot of people looked at and are like, "Ugh, I guess it's real now." So, with that, we have reached the last call, brought to you by Black Dog Consulting. Black Dog Consulting LLC is here to help the one truck owner and the small fleet owner to grow and prosper. Dave has 37 years and 4 million plus miles experience with flatbed, step deck, overdimensional dry vans, and refrigerated units. He grew the last fleet he managed from 1 truck to 5, with gross revenue of $3.7 million. If this is the growth you are looking for, contact Dave at 417-217-9622 or oldblackdog0523 at gmail.com. Black Dog Consulting, helping you retrieve bigger profits. Joe Sperlin, what is your last call?
It becomes this time of year. I always think of the same team coming up. Arkansas and Alabama are not going to score 100. And they were shooting 60%, and then Alabama was shooting almost 80, I think, for the second half. But I go back to 89-90 of a team that averaged 122.4 points a game. Loyola Marymount. And hey, if you want Franz Klammer, Ronnie, we may have to post a little video of kids for the Loyola Marymounts of 89-90. Round 2 of the NCAA tournament, they beat Michigan 149. They scored 149 points, beat them 149 to 115. They ended up losing to the champs, the Running Rebels, 131 to 101. 122 a game. And just the story of them with Hank Gathers, Bo Kimball. Bo Kimball averaged 35 a game. 35 a game.
Yeah.
I think about what it would be like if that team was happening now during the days of social media, NIL, of how many players would go, I want to go do that.
Yep.
And they were coached by Paul Westhead, who was the Lakers coach. And then he got pushed out there and ended up at Loyola.
Great 30 for 30, the guru of Go.
Yep.
The best one. The best one.
Yep. I think of that every time this time of year.
Yeah. They had a guy named Per Steamer, and he was their designated hatchet man. He didn't score as much, Doug. You remember, but he had 5 fouls and used them all.
He had great hair. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's an outstanding last call, Joe Sperlin. Oh, Mr. Lansdowne, what do you have?
I'm going to follow it up with college basketball too, but I'm not going to be as positive about that as Joe has and everything. So, I was the first one to brag on it in November when we had all those great matchups and we were talking about, the Vegas tournament and all that and everything. But this last month of college basketball hurts my soul. I mean, Nate Oates goes and digs that guy out of the G League, and you got Jerome Tang and Mick Cronin and those guys. I mean, it is NIL and the transfer portal. It has taken a toll on this game. So I just, we got guys on their second marriage and 3 kids trying to get eligibility. It's got to stop, and I don't think it does. I mean, what's next year going to look like? Because this year, I referenced the train wreck earlier. I expected Bediako to be sitting on the front row in those 4 seats that, the high rollers set in. I figured he'd be sitting there in Alabama tonight in one of those 4 seats. So and I'll still watch every tournament game, everything like that, but it is a mess.
Is college football Northern Illinois is going to Mountain West, Sacramento State, where I don't know where they've come up with all this money, and they're going to the MAC.
Yep.
And then I saw something about they are going to pay the MAC schools, give them some money to come to Sacramento.
God.
Now, why is that going on? I do not understand it. And like I said, the natural rivalry, Sacramento State and Ball State. I'm just going to leave it for that. You have to edit that.
We'll leave it
You have to
there.
edit that, Ron. So
I've heard there's
someone
a
else.
trophy.
that's all I'm going to say.
Oh dear God, someone has already mocked up the score bug for that game, Joe.
Yeah,
By the way, have you
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Hey, sorry about that, folks.
and-
He'll edit that.
It's not us. It's college sports.
Yeah, but Doug, on this point as well, you're also going to see the guys that are going Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this. And you saw Saban in college or in football, and I don't be surprised if Tom Izzo is one that's going to say I've had enough of this. And you're going to see some coaches, I think some good coaches that people like and respect, that are just like, I'm out.
I think McDermott,
give me a blazer. Yeah.
Yep. I think McDermott at Creighton this year goes, I'm not going to do this anymore. Yep.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Jay Wright was the
Altman
first.
at Oregon. Yeah.
Altman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're like, I can sit in a box and shake hands and try to get people to give money or something and not have to worry about what we said earlier, recruiting my whole team back every year.
Yep.
Tom, what do you have?
So a couple of weeks ago, I told everybody about documentary is going to be on Prime, Amazon Prime, the ABA Legend of Power, Legend of Sports. It was I watched it. It was good. I think they focused more on their challenges that they dealt with against the NBA, and they really like when they would sign a player like Rick Barry. They would promote, when they made those big signings and everything. A couple things I learned in there is Dr. J, he spent 10 days with the Atlanta Hawks, signed a contract in training camp, and the Squires and the ABA sued, and they had to, Doc had to come back. And, then he got traded to the Nets, New York Nets, and that kind of really, brought everything together a little bit. But it was fairly well done. They didn't. They had some things that they focused on more than than the highlights of the game. They did talk about, of course, the halftime, the All-Star game show, and the dunk contest and everything. But that's pretty much what the ABA was known for. But they brought up players and talked about guys that I've never even heard of, and had them on segments, and I'm like, I've even seen some tweets about, like, I don't know who that guy was that they talked about, but they talked about the Spirits owners and the getting the television money that they got, and then the Colonels, they talked about Ellie Brown, the wife of John Brown, and they made her president. She did a lot of things for the Browns and the NBA, or Colonels and NBA or ABA, and brought them a championship. But then they didn't get taken into the NBA. But it was a pretty good show. I would recommend it to anybody who's a fan of basketball, or want to learn more about the ABA.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. I was thinking about. I've seen a couple pictures of Dr. J in the Hawks uniform, and it reminds me of the 2 or 3 days Raleigh Fingers and Joe Rudy spent with the Red Sox before the league voided the deal. And it's like, hey, what's Raleigh Fingers doing in a Boston Red Sox uniform?
Yeah.
But
Pretty weird. But yeah, it was good.
Very cool. Let's see. Well, for mine, I have, usually we talk about things, telecasts getting better in sports on TV. Well, they're taking something away now, and that is when you watch baseball this year, that strike zone that you see for the batters will not be there. And the official reason is they don't want teams to have an advantage when they can challenge balls and strikes. Now, it's supposed to be like almost instantaneous, so to me that seems a little fishy, like someone from the dugout could signal. I don't know about that. Realistically, the umpires union has been wanting this gone for a long, long time, basically because it shows when the umpires miss pitches. Angel Hernandez. So,
Yes.
so this might be a convenient time to throw the umpires a bone and use the excuse of the ABS coming to get rid of it. But what so many people have looked for, that ball strike zone, which first appeared, believe it or not, back on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller and Joe Morgan. In the early 90s. That was where the K-Zone, as they call it, made its debut. And then it came everywhere, but now it's going away.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think it's just an excuse to get rid of it because they're supposed to tap their helmets as soon as they want to challenge a call. There's nothing going to be able to watch a replay and say, oh, yeah, we want to challenge that. It's got to be quicker than that.
Yeah, it has to. So, this is, like I said, I think it's just a convenient excuse to throw a bone to the umpires union. And Frank Jacobs, if you're listening, that in no way, shape, or form speaks negatively of unions. We love you, Frank. So, with that, Joe Sperlin, thank you, sir.
Yep, enjoyed it. Good visiting with you guys.
Doug Lansdowne.
Yep. Glad to be back this evening. Had a good time.
And Tom Mathis.
Good time as always. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening.
And we want to thank each and every one of you for listening or watching the St. Louis Sportists podcast. We will be back next week. And until then, take care.
And that wraps another episode of the St. Louis Sportists podcast. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. You can find these guys on all major podcast platforms. And thanks for listening.